Hi everyone, thanks so much for choosing my furniture makeover video. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Donna from Shoot the Wind Creations. I make over, restore, and paint furniture and other DIY projects for around the house. I'm self-taught and I learn more with every project. On my channel, you'll find furniture makeovers and DIYs, and hopefully you'll learn some tips, tricks, and techniques that you can use on your own projects. If you like this sort of content, please subscribe. I've got lots more to come and I'd love to have you along for the ride. So in today's video, we're going to be making over a mid-century modern dresser that I thrifted from the Restore, so let's get right to it. Okay, so to begin, I took off the hardware, like I always do, and then I gave this piece a really good clean with some soap and vinegar, and then this particular piece had a few repairs that needed to be done. So there was a piece of the veneer that had broken off, so luckily I still had the piece, so I just used some wood glue, put it back in place, and then taped it while the glue dried. And then I just gave it a sand and it looked great. Then I vacuumed out the drawers, and the bottom drawer had, I don't even know what it was. It was crusty crystals. I'm not sure. It was really, really gross. And I ended up having to sand that off and vacuuming up the dust. I'm guessing it was like a beauty product that had gone wrong. At least that's what I'm hoping it was. So once all that was done, we began to fix the legs. One side of the dresser, the legs had actually become detached from the side. So I got my husband to help me here. So we had to put the piece back together in the corner, and then the original screws, they were all stripped. So they weren't able to actually hold the side in. So my husband had to drill some new holes, and then we were able to use the screws to really get that side good and tight. And that was a great fix. And then we just had to tighten up a few other things. The drawer runners were really loose, so we just tightened up the screws there. And one of the drawer fronts, the actual front had come off. They were dovetailed, which is a great construction. And so we were just able to use some wood glue and put the dovetail back together, and it did a really great job of holding it all together. So once we did all that, we're ready for the next step, which is priming. So I used the Behr shellac primer, which this was my first time using it, and it was an amazing product. It rolls on really easily. The one thing I will say, it's very, very thin, and so it's runny, and it does have a bit of a smell, but I didn't find the smell too overwhelming, and it did a fantastic job. It dries in about a half an hour, and it did a really great job of changing the color and really not letting anything bleed through. It's a shellac primer, so it is a stain blocker and an odor blocker. It was just a fantastic product. I'll use it on all my projects from now on. So then after the primer was on and dried, I then moved on to painting. So I ended up doing 4 coats on this dresser, and I used the Behr chalk paint in a rich navy color. I'm really liking the Behr paint. This was the first time I've ever rolled the chalk paint on, and it worked exceptionally well. It was a nice smooth finish. I wanted to try using the roller because this whole dresser was very smooth and sleek, and I really didn't want a ton of brush marks. Normally I don't mind the brush marks, but I really wanted to try to make this as sleek as I could. I didn't need to water down the paint. It was good just coming straight out of the can using the roller. It worked really well, but I did do 4 coats. I wanted really, really good coverage, and again, I wanted a super smooth finish. So I felt that the 4 coats really did help. So again, if you like this sort of content, please subscribe. I would love to have you along for the ride, and I've got lots more coming. And as always, if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments below and I'll definitely get back to you. So back to this, I'm still painting here. There were a lot of drawers. This set actually came in 2 pieces. I have the tall boy dresser and then the long dresser. I just showed the long one because it was the same process for both. And like I said, I got this from the Restore, the Habitat for Humanity Restore, and it was a great find. I paid $40 for this dresser and $30 for the tall boy, so you can't really go wrong. So here I am painting the dresser, and again I put 4 coats on that as well for the frame. And the roller, it did such a nice job. It made such quick work of painting, which was wonderful. You'll see when I go across the front, I used the roller as much as I could but I did end up coming back with a brush to do the top where the top piece meets the top of the dresser and in the little corners, and as well as the bottom rail where it goes into the drawer. I used a paintbrush just to keep that line nice and clean. Now that being said, paintbrushes are my safety zone. They're what I'm used to and what I'm very comfortable using. So I just wanted to get a nice clean line. You could probably do it with the roller, no problem at all, especially if you taped it off. And then we refreshed the hardware using some of the Rust-Oleum spray paint. This was the first time I used that as well, and that was a great product. That worked really, really well. We went with a nice, kind of like a dull gold, and once we sprayed it, you could see some of the texture from the original hardware coming through, and it turned out really, really beautiful. So I painted the feet gold. I wanted to give it just a little bit of a cap at the bottom and bring some of that gold color down. I ended up doing 3 coats of the gold paint and then doing the clear coat over everything to seal it. And then I did a final wax coat like I always do. I do use a sealer to make sure for protection, but then I love the finish that the wax coat gives at the end. And then we were done. And this dresser turned out so beautifully. I was so happy with how it turned out. It really is that sleek look I was looking for. And it was the smoothest finish I've ever done with chalk paint. So I was really pleased with that as well. Well, thanks so much for watching. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.